The afternoon sun blazed down on the country club's pristine tennis courts, where laughter and clinking glasses echoed from the sidelines. The elite of the city had gathered for a charity event hosted by Alexander Grant, the young and notoriously arrogant CEO of a billion-dollar company. Known for his sharp suits and sharper tongue, Alexander loved being the center of attention. That's when his eyes landed on Daniel, the janitor quietly sweeping near the bleachers. His faded uniform and worn-out shoes stood out among the designer dresses and tailored blazers. Alexander smirked, twirling his racket. "Hey, janitor," he called out loud enough for everyone to hear. "Care for a game? Beat me in tennis and I'll marry you myself. Imagine that. A billionaire marrying a broomstick." The crowd erupted in laughter. Some shook their heads at his cruelty. Others joined in, entertained by the humiliation. Daniel froze, his hands tightening around the broom handle. He didn't say a word, just looked down, his face unreadable. But then something unexpected happened. A soft voice broke the silence. Sophia, Alexander's assistant, who had always treated Daniel with quiet respect. "Why not let him play?" she said, her tone firm. "Unless you're afraid to lose." A murmur rippled through the spectators. Alexander's pride flared, and with a smug smile he tossed an extra racket toward Daniel. "Fine, let's make a show of it." The crowd leaned forward eagerly, ready to watch the janitor embarrass himself. Daniel set the broom aside, slowly walked onto the court, and picked up the racket. His movements were calm, almost too calm, like a man walking into something he had already accepted. The game began. Alexander served first, the ball flying across the net with practiced ease. Daniel barely moved. He let it bounce once, twice, then swung. The ball shot past Alexander like lightning, slamming against the baseline with perfect precision. Gasps filled the court. "Beginner's luck," Alexander scoffed. But point after point, Daniel returned every serve, every volley with stunning skill. His movements were sharp, graceful, and impossibly fast, as if the racket was an extension of his arm. The once jeering crowd fell silent, eyes wide in disbelief. Whispers spread quickly. "Who is he? How does he play like that? This can't be real." Alexander's smirk faded. Sweat beaded on his forehead as frustration mounted. No matter how hard he swung, Daniel anticipated every shot, countering with effortless precision. With each strike, it became clearer. This janitor wasn't just good. He was extraordinary. Finally, match point. The crowd held its breath. Alexander served with all his strength, the ball curving like a bullet toward the corner. Daniel leapt, his body twisting midair, and with one clean strike sent the ball soaring past Alexander. The ball hit the line. Game over. The court erupted. Cheers, applause, stunned laughter. It was chaos. People rose to their feet, clapping and shouting his name. Daniel simply lowered his racket, his face calm, almost shy. Sophia stepped forward, her voice trembling with awe. "Daniel, how?" For the first time he spoke, his voice steady but soft. "Years ago, I played professionally. But when my father got sick, I gave it up to work and take care of my family. Life took me here." The weight of his words silenced the crowd. The same people who had mocked him minutes ago now looked at him with respect, even admiration. Alexander, red-faced and speechless, couldn't hide his humiliation. The man who had mocked kindness and humility now stood defeated, not just in the game, but in spirit. But Daniel didn't gloat. He didn't smirk or boast. He simply picked up his broom, placed the racket back on the bench, and gave a small nod before walking off the court, leaving behind a crowd forever changed by what they had witnessed.